Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. And I hope you all had a good lunch. As you can see, this session is focused on children and specifically cyberbullying in this digital age. And we aim to take the perspective of children and using a rights-based approach, especially adopting digital literacy to try to respond to cyberbullying against children. And we have a very wonderful panel here today. And on my left, we have my colleague from UNICEF. Sorry if I said his name wrong. Stephen Vosloo.
Very good.
Sorry. And Utah, and very distinguished experts in this field. And we also have Kamala from IPAO, and we have a child representative here in the house, Gao Mengcheng from China, 13 years old. Yes. And last but not least, we have a private sector representative from the tech giant Tencent in China, Ms. Zhao Chenchen. And we all know that bullying is a global issue facing millions of children. And nowadays, bullying doesn't only occur in schools, in campus, on playgrounds. They actually follow kids in the bedroom, in their pockets, because they're using all kinds of digital devices. So cyberbullying actually is a very serious issue. And the prevalence of cyberbullying, there's a lot of different data in different countries, but we cannot deny it is a global issue, and different sectors need to work together to prevent and respond to cyberbullying against children. That's why we are working with our partner, China Federation of Internet Societies, to co-organize this workshop at IGF. So first, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my partner at the China Federation of Internet Societies, Ms. Ding Xiuyun, to help us set the scene give us a brief idea of how cyberbullying is, at least in the China context. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you for Wenying. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the reporter from CFIS, and it's my honor to be here to share our report to everyone. As just introduced by the moderator, our workshop organized by CFIS and UNICEF China. I'm sure there is no one who doesn't know UNICEF, but allow me to briefly introduce CFIS. Our full name is China Federation of Internet Societies, which was founded in Beijing in May 2018. CFIS is a national joint and pivotal non-profit social organizations formed by domestic social organizations and related institutions in the field of network security and informatization. The purpose of CFIS are to actively play the role of bridge to coordinate the resource of all parties in society, promote the development of the Internet social organizations, rally their strengths and strengthen their role, guide them to learn from each other and make common improvement, and enhance individual vitality and improve the overall level of work. Now, let's go back to the report. It's necessary to let you know that, as a practice of this workshop, the service was completed with the help of 作业帮, an education technology corporation that focuses on primary and secondary education with more than 400 million activity users in their platform. In this form, more than 58,000 users participate in the service, and 45,000 valid questionnaires were collected. The participant was aged 6 to 18. The questionnaire focused on 4 fundamentals, that is, basic information, the way children used to tackle cyberbullying, the extent of children's awareness and children's digital literacy. To save time, let's skip straight to the survey's result. In China, social media is the main online medium for the children, followed by games and short video platforms. According to the report, 89.1% of them interact socially online. Cyberbullying awareness among 73% of children surveyed. Cyberbullying affects 8% of them and 17.4% of their friends. 49% of them will report it, but children were more likely to communicate the issue with others for help. And in terms of children online media literacy, 13% of children do not know how to socialize healthily. 14% of children are unaware of the potential risk of randomly filling out personal information. 25% of children do not know how to deal with the negative emotion after cyberbullying. Through this simple survey, we believe that improving online digital literacy is an important way to protect children. We hope to call on children, parents, school, enterprise, society, and governments to jointly pay attention to and solve this problem through this workshop. Now, give it back to you, Wenying.
You can see this is a very large-scale survey, although it's a quite simple sort of methods, but at least it gives us a glimpse of, the magnitude of this issue, and also give us some pointers on what to do next. But I think it's important for us to listen to children's voices on how bullying are affecting their lives and what do they think. So that's why we invited Meng Cheng here to share his views and his points. So Meng Cheng, hand it over to you.
Thank you. I am Gao Mengchen, 13 years old, and I am from Beijing. It is my honor to be here to talk about my experiences with cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is something about which I have a lot to say. As a millennial, I and my friends are growing up in the world of the internet. According to Pew Research Center, fully 95% of teens aged 12 to 18 have access to a smartphone, and 45% of that same group say that they're online almost constantly. All the data shows that our generation has an extremely close connection with the internet in our daily life. In China, I can use my smartphone or laptop to study online courses, download films with 4K resolution, see fascinating scenery shared by a friend who travels the countryside, and get access to any resources I needed while I was preparing this speech. The internet has truly broadened everyone's horizon and connected us with people and the world in an unprecedented way. We are very lucky to live in an age in which the internet is this developed. However, cyberspace is not always filled with surprises and amazing views. Usually, we are exposed to both the good part and the bad part of it at the same time. Sometimes I'm so astonished by the sheer amount of viciousness imposed on a single person or even a child on the internet. I just can't imagine how a child at my age, should suffer from so many insulting words, hateful speeches, and even horrible threats. Sadly, such stories happened and are happening around the world. Some time ago, a classmate of mine called himself a nickname. It stuck, and being the way that middle schools are, everyone knew about it. He didn't want that nickname after a while, but everyone kept on calling him that online and offline. It started to become a meme in the school. Well, this is unfair. Yes, we respect different opinions expressed rationally. However, when words are used to poke fun at and attack others, it becomes a form of violence and should be avoided. Luckily, he hasn't taken any of it seriously. He knows that we are just messing around with each other and we don't mean it. Also, he is a strong person and wasn't afraid to play dirty. He just told the teacher. But not everyone who gets cyberbullied is so lucky. Little over a month ago, 25-year-old Korean actress Saal committed suicide in her apartment. In my opinion, this was murder. She was murdered by those who had cyberbullied her for years. I've known her for 2 years, and my friends and I have seen lots of her shows. While digging around on the all-powerful internet, we found that in 2014, she was reported to be going out with a date 14 years older than her. All sorts of criticism, abuse, and curses overwhelmed the young girl. She started to be bothered by depression, and she started to behave very rebelliously. But these rebellious acts triggered even more criticism. People started to say that she had broken up, that she had taken drugs. She didn't seem to care, but in fact, every mean comment was chipping away at what little remained of her self-confidence. Eventually, she chose a tragic way to end her life. I feel terrible for her and her family. Saal's tragic story reminds us in a very crucial way that how destructive cyberbullying can be on a person, especially on a child who hasn't been strong enough to deal with all of the harm. I've never been a victim of cyberbullying. However, I have seen enough examples. I hope that my friends, idols, and loved ones should never have to go through that again. I also hope that teachers and parents should help us from now on.
Thank you, Menchen. That was very powerful, and we thank you very much for sharing that with us. And indeed, cyberbullying can be really, terrible experience, and not every kid has the resilience, like your friend you mentioned, that he just. Basically toughed up, and because a lot of support is needed to help children who are going through cyberbullying. And one very important tool is through digital literacy. But digital literacy is a very complex concept and is always evolving, and especially digital literacy for children is a relatively even newer concept. So let's welcome my colleague Stephen to work through digital literacy with us. Thank you.
Clicker. No, this one? I've got it. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that very much, and it's great to be here. So I'm just going to briefly talk about some work that we've recently done at UNICEF on digital literacy, and then I'll kind of end with a few final thoughts. So we released a report quite recently. This is it, Digital Literacy for Children, looking at different definitions and frameworks. And the report started as an exercise to really inform UNICEF's work on digital literacy, but it became something bigger than that. We wanted to share it to kind of be part of the global discussion on this topic. So we wanted to look at a definition of digital literacy, look at existing frameworks that are out there and how they can respond and better understand UNICEF's needs. And when we say UNICEF, we really mean the countries and the governments in which UNICEF works. So this is the definition that we proposed, actually, and it looks quite familiar to all of you. Digital literacy refers to the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that allow children to flourish and thrive in an increasingly global digital world, being both safe and empowered in ways that are appropriate to their age and local cultures and contexts. And the last bit in bold is maybe what's different to many other digital literacy explanations or definitions. And it's important to note here that it's digital literacy is all-encompassing. It is these skills and knowledge and attitudes. It covers cyberbullying and it covers issues of online safety, but it's much more empowering also. I think I'll skip this one. This was interesting. So this is broadly speaking. Digital literacy is rarely evaluated, and we know that we need a lot more data in this space, so it's great to have research like the Global Kids Online doing a multiple country analysis of how children use technology. But in general, you're right, it is still fairly new in the way that it's taught and practiced. Children's digital literacy strongly depends on children's social environment. And that's also very, very important to keep in mind. And that there really is a need for a lot more collaboration and coordination in this space. I'll just show you briefly. We interviewed 37 UNICEF country officers reporting on 40 different initiatives. And that first point, the focus, 25 were aimed at building competencies, but 19 focusing on internet safety. And that's often, for UNICEF, a lot of our work so far has been around, digital literacy has been around online safety, really, which would include the cyberbullying. But you see these barriers from teachers or from the education folks. It's very common. We recognize these lack of ICT infrastructure, lack of teachers and trainers capacity, and we may say lack of parents capacity and parental involvement. Low connectivity, lack of understanding from decision makers on the importance of this issue. And in terms of their needs, policy guidance, competence frameworks, curriculum guidelines, practical tools. So there's a lot of work to be done in this space. I'll just briefly show you this diagram. For an organization like UNICEF, we see digital skills and in that digital literacy as one part of a bigger skill set, which I think most organizations are now beginning to recognize. We did also, in this report, we don't think that UNICEF necessarily needs to come up with its own framework. There are some excellent frameworks out there that we identified. The DigCom from the European Commission is one. Digital Kids Asia Pacific from UNESCO, Council of Europe, DQ Institute, the DQ framework from Singapore. So there's a lot of good work being done out there. And I'll just end by saying, for the topic, for this particular topic, tying it back to cyberbullying, it's obviously essential. It is an essential skill for children to be safe and empowered online. It could empower children to recognize cyberbullying for what it is, and to kind of give it a name and to realize that it does happen online. Many of the digital literacy frameworks emphasize digital citizenship, which is important because it teaches issues around or qualities of tolerance and empathy, which help people, to be nicer to each other, basically, online, and that's important. But I think it's equally important to remember that digital literacy is one part of a holistic effort that needs to happen against cyberbullying. I was thinking last night, maybe an example is like, if you only focus on digital literacy, it's like giving children a bulletproof vest. It protects them to a certain point, but it doesn't stop the bullets. So it's a holistic solution that we need. We need to address the reasons for the cyberbullying in the first place, the peer-to-peer violence, and these can come from domestic issues, from community violence, from loneliness. We need to really look at the supportive social environment and positive role modeling that comes from parents and others, and this is a very clear message from the Global Kids Online. that it's not just a child and a digital device, there's a whole world around that child. And then also we need to look at technical solutions, and there's some really interesting work being done. We heard earlier from Facebook around using artificial intelligence, from an algorithm perspective, to quickly scan huge amounts of data and pick up potentially harmful messages. There's also Instagram as a new feature where, as you are typing a comment in real time, if it picks up words that could be harmful, it flags those as, it prompts you as the user, are you sure you want to say this? It may be harmful. And they've actually had high success rates in, after those messages, only, I forget the exact number, but it's something like 20 or 30%, or even less, still send the message. So it's a powerful way, to reduce this. But the point is really it's a holistic solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Absolutely, I agree. It is, it's not digital literacy. It is in itself, a holistic approach, because it includes not just the knowledge and skill, but also attitudes, social, emotional learning, and all that. And a lot of bullying, no matter it's online or offline, it has underlying causes, and that's those causes we need to look into and find effective solutions to, address. So it is one dimension to look into digital literacy. And in a way, because it's something we could start now and really work with children to develop the framework and how to embrace the concept and really learn with them. And with that, we also Jutta, please share your views with us.
Yes. Thank you, moderator, for giving me the floor. I don't need my slides now, just to let you know, because I'm supposed to speak about children's rights later on. So I will now just give a brief thoughts to the discussion. And what you referred in your last sentence, Sue, was that be it online or offline, the bullying. And I do think that it's necessary to be aware that there has always been bullying among children, sometimes also among adults. And what we need to consider is whether there are more severe consequences when this happens online. And it's of course true that anything that was said in a classroom maybe, or in a school court, children can maybe easily walk away, while when cyberbullying happens to them and it's on their smartphone, they carry it on them. And probably they still carry it when they are in their bedroom, and they still are somehow connected to these bad and hurtful messages. So this has certainly a more deeper impact than it has when it's just words that are said in the school court. But still, we need to bear that in mind, that wherever social interaction happens, there are always arguments and also conflicts. And we could try to learn from how to solve those conflicts in the analog and the real world, and try whether to understand that could also be helpful. Of course, communication among the children, communication with their peers, with their parents, teachers, and so on, is definitely one way to cope with that. So what we see from lots of projects that have been run during the course of the years, and from my organization, we started nearly 20 years ago working on bridging the digital divide, and from the beginning we were confronted with the debate on what about children? What are they doing there, and how can we protect them? So what we learned is digital literacy is a very useful instrument. Children have learned a lot of lessons that we've been teaching them over the years, but still we need to go a step further. For example, when we taught them in digital literacy courses not to give away the name of their school, their private address, and so on, they have learned that now, but of course they still give away these data because they just use devices that give away these data without the children being aware of it. So that brings me to the point that we need to assess what digital literacy messages are really useful to address cyberbullying. I also wanted to refer to some of the data that were presented this morning in a session where the other UNICEF report was presented, and it was very clear that from Global Kids Online we know that of course there is a lot of risk. Not all risk results or transfers into harm. And even though the figures show that many children are aware of cyberbullying, only a few of them have really experienced to be bullied, and only a few say, yes, I have been a bully. But still, these are, if it's around 7 to 10%, that's still a huge number of children who face these problems, and that's why we have to address it. What we also learned from these studies is that parents usually don't tend so much to talk to their parents about the issue because they fear that parents maybe then restrict their access to the internet. And that's, for them, it's more a problem when they have restricted access than facing sometimes problems in interaction with their peers. And it's also, there is evidence that the more restrictive parents are, somehow the children are weaker then, because if they can't learn to cope with all these risks that are out there, they probably are in a weaker position if then something happens to them. So we also see that the older children are, if you look at the teenager group, so those who are aged 10 to 12 maybe, they have less experienced cyberbullying than those who are 14 to 16, for example. And this is also due to their differences in the usage. So during puberty, they are more and more acquainted to present themselves a little bit more to other people on the internet. And the more exposed they are, also, of course, then the risk grows higher that they are also affected by cyberbullying. But still, I would say this is part of their personal development. They need it to try out what is my individuality and how do people react to what I do on the internet. So there we need a very balanced approach, that they, on the one hand, have the opportunities that are really huge with the internet nowadays to develop their personality on the one hand, but still to be protected. And I will leave it with there, talking a bit more about the right to be protected in the second part of the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, just to echo what you just said about the parents. This morning at this Kids Online session, I briefly talked about this ongoing study we are doing in China, basically the Kids Online in China. And some preliminary findings is that of those children who are self-reported that they are bullied, 74% of their parents don't know about it. And of the children who are saying they are bullying other children, 80% of their parents don't know about it. They just basically ignorant of what's going on. So that's a big problem. And I also agree that it actually is issue that needs multi-sector involvement, and we cannot just rely on developing and teaching children digital literacy, then they can magically protect themselves from cyberbullying. It takes much more than that, which we will come back in the second part of this discussion. But before that, we also welcome Kamala from Nepal to give us an overview of how the situation in Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ying. Internet is very important for everyone, including children. Children enhance their knowledge by using different ICT tools. Even though there is some challenges to the children. Sometimes people can send illegal content, illegal photos or the videos on the internet for the children. And sometimes people do abuse and bullying to the children. If children feel bullying, if children feel bullying, children can suffering from mental health problem and higher risk of thought, suicide, and attempts. So to reduce the cyberbullying, parents can play the major roles. Let to know their children's importance of internet and risks of them, and let to know their children's importance of privacy and not to share their personal information, personal photos or the video even with the friends, and not to leave their children alone on the internet, and keep children using mobile computer, keep in public place at homes where parents can regularly monitoring and what their children can learn on internet. And if there is any bullying, any children can talk with their parent without any fear, which is very helpful to go to the police. And on the other hand, many stakeholders can contribute to reduce the cyberbullying, like governments, national, international organizations, law enforcement agencies, educators, civil society, and children themselves. They can also provide digital literacy awareness and like this. And on the other hand, to reduce the cyberbullying, school level syllabus is very essential for the increase the digital literacy and minimize the cyberbullying. And our organization's Forum for Digital Equality also developed the child complaint mechanisms, www.childsafety.org.np, with the collaboration with London-based organization Internet Watch Foundations. People who suffer from cyberbullying, they can go to the complaint. Who have cyberbullying photos or the video, they can go to the complaint through our website. And we provide the legal and technical support to them, and we provide the counseling to the children and their parents. And we also providing the our national language counseling. We are launching our website on the Nepali medium on our national language on 1st January 2020, which is very helpful for the people to understanding the educations and what is digital literacy, and they can solve the problem. If there is cyberbullying, they can solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamala, for painting us a comprehensive picture of how Nepal is dealing with cyberbullying and all the response mechanisms. And also, you basically set the scene for our next topic. You talk about the police, the education sector, and all the other relevant sectors, what their roles and how they respond to the issue. So to kick off the next topic, which is the roles and the responsibilities of different sectors, different stakeholders in terms of prevention and response to cyberbullying. We first welcome our colleague at Tencent, Ms. Zhao Chenchen, to share with us how Tencent, as a big, internet company, what their, has to offer in terms of, tackling cyberbullying.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to participate in this event and on behalf of Tencent to deliver our thinkings and practice in helping children to deal with cyberbullying with digital literacy education. Before my speech, I will invite you to share with me a video clip. One second, sorry. Sorry, this video clip is selected from talk show, which produced by Tencent News, is also belong to our company. It's based on a true story. The interview suffered 10 years bullying, and she shared the story with the host and the audience about how this bullying changed her life. 可以了吗？ Yeah, please.
长得像凤姐一样，牙齿也不好，是我当性工作者，拆解我的名字，苍蝇不叮无缝的蛋，在 QQ 空间里面都刷爆了，大家都带上手机相机去温岭中学围观神女，我们班的同学就甚至开始收门票了。 跟我素未谋面，但是出来刁难我，左右开弓的打，一口气就打了10几下，就谁都可以打我，就是全校的敌人这样，就是全校的敌人这样。茶杯倒在地上碎掉了，坐在我旁边的同桌，他就讲了一句话，他说：“王晶晶这个茶杯要300万。”有人在我们学校的贴吧上提这个事情，说我刁难人家。 一旦有人开始引起这个头之后，就好多人在里面说，为了维护自己的颜面，也是有点虚荣心在作祟。我当时就已经去开始撒谎了，就是说我自己家境是很好的，但是他们就一副势必要揭穿我这个假面的势头。一个杯子300万的人，年收入有几个亿，男朋友不间断，小学就整过容，一个神奇的女子，简称神女。我的学业确实是被毁掉了，我的这个性格确实是大变了，我无法再相信任何人，但是我却不知道该去恨谁。
在这把火里头都没添太多的柴，对，但是事实是这个房子确实被烧到，
对，确实被烧掉了。
Thank you for watching. The video we just saw is selected from a talk show named Talk to Her, produced by Tencent News as Just Talk. In this video, the interview named Wang Jingjing shared her story about a decade-long bullying that she had suffered. A bad joke was instantly spread and got worse and worse in an unpredictable way. What became a violence party for netizens, for many netizens, but it's a nightmare for Jingjing. That cyberbullying lasted for 10 years in empowering Jingjing's psychology, physical health, studies, careers, and families, resulting in irreparable and malicious harm to her life. As the host of the video said, maybe everyone ate just a little firewood to the fire, but the fact is the house has been burned down by all. As we know, cyber violence, cyberbullying can be spread in a wide scope, and it's uncontrollable, and it's cruel, and it's difficult to be detected and managed. Moreover, the cyberbullying is very easy to turn into offline violence. With the rapid popularization of internet and smart devices, younger age new netizens become more and more prevalent. And the problem of internet safety faced by children are increasing. In this May, the Blue Book of Teenagers Annual Report on the Internet Use of Chinese Minors 2019 was jointly published by the Institute of Journalism and Communication of Chinese Academy of Social Science, the China Teenager and Children Development Service Center, the China National Youth Police Association, and the Social Science Academy Prize. According to the report, in China, 28.89% of the minors on the internet have encountered violence and abuse of information. This slide shows the ratios of the different kinds of bullying faced online. And we also find out the most situation the children face cyberbullying is in the social software network communities and live streaming platforms. As a technology company, Tencent constantly pays high attention on digital literacy of minors, cyber safety education, and minors' rights and interests in online protection. With the belief of tech for good, we focus on two priorities: safe internet surfing and healthy internet surfing. Based on years of research and practice, we outline the advantages of our business and platform and take the lead in launching a project for the protection of minors' rights and interests on the internet. We call it Tencent for Kids, for children. Sorry. This project, Tencent for Children, established an internet protection system for minors with our platform governance, research and education, product promotion, and social cooperation. What we want is to create a cyberspace where children may learn and serve happy, healthy, and safe. Please allow me to make a detailed introduction from these four parts. It's theoretical research, education and product promotion, and the platform governance and the social cooperation. The first part is the research. Tencent for Children relies on advantages of our platform and focus on frontier theoretical research. Since 2015, Tencent has worked with universities and research institutes to conduct in-depth research on the net behavior and online gaming safety for minors, aiming to better clarify the blind spots and the key points for cyber protection for young internet users. We delivered several reports with authorities. This report is focused on, like the slide shows, focus on online safety, game behavior, and digital literacy of children. This report provides theoretical support for us to develop the digital literacy education for minors. The second part I want to talk about is the activities, which including the product promotion and education. About the product promotion, we have developed several online literacy education tools by integrate or online and offline resources to help children to get knowledge of online literacy, such as Digital Small Netizen Health Growth Guidance and the Adolescence Network Health Use Guidebook, which presents the basic knowledge that children should know when they use the internet and the habit formation. And in 2018, we collaborate with government authorities, universities, experts, and third-party agencies to launch the DNA project. By providing children with various interesting online literacy courses and learning tools, we advocate more parent-children communication and advanced education methods for teaching. I would like to introduce, in particular, another project. We called it Humiao, Cybersecurity Entering School, which co-launched by the National Office Against Pornography and Illegal Publications and Tencent. This project is from 2017, has experienced 3 years of improvement and upgrade. And now we already established a comprehensive digital literacy education system, which is for children. Humiao project offers both online and offline courses for students, parents, and teachers. The teaching method, including role play or case analysis. And we will talk about digital literacy, online self-protection, and reasonable usage of the internet. We have produced vivid case analysis videos, and also we use interactive situation teaching methods for our offline license. Take cyberbullying, for example. This picture is from our training course or literacy course for the children. We will not just the video from the case study is mostly from the video, but we also give the opportunity for children to give a role play and discussion. We will ask the children to think about how they should stop bullying others and what they can do if they are being bullied. This experience will enable students to stand in other shoes, and this experience will enable students to think about the problems, and we will give some suggestions and definitions and analysis about cyberbullying to inspire them to come up with their own solution to cyberbullying. This is some pictures from our offline courses. Our courses is quite popular. as I said, this project is from 2017, and in that year, we already deliver offline courses for more than 30 schools, and it's covered 17 cities and province. And in 2008, we upload a video course about the children's digital literacy, and it's covered more than 10 million students in prime and secondary school. And in the same years, we also have a training course for teachers to imprehensively their knowledge of cybersecurity and teaching methods for these teachers from 31 cities and province. In 2009, we update our course and focus on the literacy course for the students from rural areas and the left-behind children. We already deliver 12 from this September. We already delivered more than 10. It's about 12 courses for different schools. And the third part I will talk about is the platform governance. By which we want to create a cyberspace is harmony and children-friendly. On your left hand is a project we call Tencent Guardians Project. With the idea of tech for good, we strictly prevent various kinds of illegal and criminal activities against minors on the internet by making full use of our internet resources and the knowledge of our theoretical research. We actively conduct legal research about the protection of minors' rights and interests. We cooperate with law enforcement to increase the crackdown of malicious violation of rights and interests of minors on the internet. We also conduct in-depth research about the application of relevant laws, participate in and follow up the revision of laws and regulations, such as law on the protection of minors, and explore ways to effectively strengthen the protection of minors. And also, we use computer vision technology to simulate the facial recognition and help police find lost children. The other way we enhance our governance is we make a report label in our platform. Take QQ for example. QQ is an app for online communication. It's quite popular in China. Take QQ for example, in January 2018, we launched an exclusive online report label called Infringement of Minors' Rights and Interests to improve the effective handling of reporting violations of minors' rights and interests. The last but not the least, I want to talk about the social cooperation. Tencent for Children is a systematic project that requires the joint participation of the government, companies, media, families, schools, and other social forces. In recent years, Tencent has made constant efforts to unite government agencies, industry counterparts, celebrities, academies, experts, families, and other parts to jointly develop internet literacy education for minors, and has formed some well-functioning projects. UNICEF is a global strategic partner of Tencent since the end of 2016. Under the agreement, we have been promoting our cooperation regarding internet protection of minors including cybersecurity education, policy advocacy, and research on relevant issues. In 2018, Tencent and LEGO also achieved a strategic cooperation. We cooperate about content and games. Also, we promote construction of children's digital healthy ecology from perspective of product design, education, and policy advocacy to better protection of the rights of children in the digital age. Take this opportunity, I want to ask for all sectors, all social sectors to join us. I think everyone responsible for online protection of children. So welcome and join us. We should together to create a children-friendly cyberspace. That's all for my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Chen Chen. That was a very comprehensive initiative you have. Actually, we got inspired a lot by Tencent because they actually were quite advanced in promoting digital literacy for children in China, and they have been implementing quite a few initiatives with relevant government agencies, education sectors, and NGOs. And apart from that, actually, I feel like Tencent and other tech companies could use their technology more in tackling this issue. You mentioned about the trafficking, you're using AI to find trafficked children. That is actually a quite impressive achievement because they are using AI, facial recognition technology to find kids who were trafficked a decade ago. So they are comparing a photo of a kid who was a baby or only like 2 years ago, but now they are already a teenager. So using their technology and using government database, they were able to use the old photos of small babies to match how they look today and find trafficked children. That was very impressive, and I think that's one very good example of how technology can be used for social good and for children. And we're also very happy that you mentioned how tech sector are willing to work with other sectors, including government, including education sector, including parents and children themselves. I know Jutta has a presentation prepared for that. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Could you please bring up the slides now? Yes, thank you for giving me the floor again. And I would like to bring back the discussion a little bit to children's rights because although I think that teaching children digital literacy is one very important part, there is also more to be done to protect children's rights. Could you please bring it up? Oh, yes, there it is. Can I please have the clip?
Sorry.
Thank you. So those of you who are a bit more familiar with children's rights may know that we've been celebrating the 30th anniversary of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child only last week. So let me see. The convention was adopted in 1989 And according to the convention, a child is a person aged under 18 years. The convention has 54 articles in 3 sections, and 41 of these articles define the rights dedicated to the child. It is the most ratified human treaty in history, with 196 states having committed themselves to respect, protect, and fulfill the rights of the child, and they are legally obliged to do so when they have ratified. To bring to your mind is also that since 1989 we have the World Wide Web developed by Tim Berners-Lee, and that means that everybody has access to the internet. So the fathers and the mothers of the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child could obviously not have foreseen that children would use the internet and to what extent they would use the internet 30 years later. But still, when we look into the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child, we see many aspects that can now be transferred also to the digital world. And to explain that a little bit more, we have drawn up the triangle of the child's rights according to the UNCRC. In the center is the best interest of the child. Then we have rights to protection, rights to provision, and rights to participation. When you have a look at the central article, it's Article 3, that says in all actions concerning children, the best interest of the child shall be a primary consideration. And I do think this also counts within the digital world. And it's somehow also supported by the European Charter on Fundamental Rights in Article 24, which reads nearly the same like the 3rd article of the UNCRC. So coming back to protection, provision, and participation, just let's have a look into the rights to protection. So there is a right to access to information, and in Article 17 it's also mentioned that children should be protected from information and material injurious to his or her well-being. Then we have the protectional rights like child labor, protection from any form of exploitation. Looking into the digital environment, of course we see cases where children's rights to be protected from exploitation are infringed. When they are using several services on the internet, that might also cause them to be commercially exploited. Then we have Article 34, protection from any form of sexual abuse. Of course, we see that sexual abuse is happening on the internet. All forms of violence, protection from all forms of violence. We see hate speech in the internet, and also I would say some forms of cyberbullying are a form of violence. And last but not least, we have the right to privacy in Article 16. And I know that these things like facial recognition can help to find trafficked children. It's nevertheless also an infringement of the right to privacy, and therefore at that point we also need a balanced approach. Looking at the part of the provisional rights, we have the right to education in Article 28, we have the right to freedom of expression, Article 13, and access to information, as I mentioned before, Article 17. And all these rights can be exercised via digital media, and they can also be emphasized when using digital media. You see protection and provision at the bottom line of the triangle, and this is because if these two parts are fulfilled, the protectional rights and the provisional rights, then the child will be empowered to participate in society. So we have Article 12, respect for the views of the child, we have freedom of association, and we have the right to leisure, play, and culture in Article 31, and we have debated that extensively on Tuesday morning in another session when we balanced it to the right to leisure, play, and culture, while we also see risks when children are doing, for example, gaming on the internet. So again, we need a balanced approach, but what I would like to emphasize is, again, the Article 12, respect or the views of the child, or other phrased, the right to be heard. And if you look at what is in this Article 12, you will see that the views of the child shall be given due weight in accordance with the age and maturity of the child. And also I would like to quote that the child shall in particular be provided the opportunity to be heard. So when we look at cyberbullying, I do think this is a coin with two sides. On the one hand, we need to talk to young people like Meng Chen and what he's told us about cyberbullying and what children themselves think about cyberbullying, where they need to be protected, where they need help, and what digital literacy can do to them. But on the other hand, we need also that children are to be heard by the companies that provide these services. And from my perspective, I would say we also need to take these companies in responsibility. They need to make the voices of children heard, not only by providing them opportunities to use the service to communicate with others, but also, for example, when they have to complain about other users. So what we see so far is we have reporting systems, of course, but still this is not so easy to find, and it's in most cases very difficult for children to use reporting services. In many, many cases, they don't get any feedback, so they just deliver a report, say, okay, I feel cyberbullied, but what will happen? So, and therefore I do strongly plan that we also not only leave it to digital literacy, which is in the remit of the parents and the child and the teachers, but also in the responsibility of the companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Jutta, for bringing us back to the core of our values, which is child rights. And you are absolutely right. Child rights is it's a comprehensive, holistic sort of body of different rights that we need to look at it. And for a lot of problems children face online, there's already, we need to balance different perspectives, and even some of the rights needs to be balanced. And also, I definitely agree that tech companies need to be more accountable, and I have to say their reporting and complaint systems on the platform and services are not very satisfactory, and children need more child-friendly, responsive, effective mechanisms on those platforms and services, so they can effectively and timely report bullying and another negative experience they have on the internet. Those reports have to be dealt with in a timely manner, and follow-up measures has to be taken. So there's a lot of people talk about self-regulation, but probably that's not enough for the tech sector. More rigorous policies and laws and regulations might be needed to really effectively address this issue. So I want to come back to Stephen. Sorry for putting you on the spot again. We work at UNICEF. We are the advocates of child rights, and as Jutta rightly, reminded us, we need to put child rights in the center of how we look at those issues and how we respond to them. But coming back to cyberbullying, what do you think that with a rights-based approach, different major stakeholders, what they have to do?
Thank you. It's a great question. I think that what's been said, and it'll be great to hear from the audience as well, other thoughts, but it is a holistic solution that's needed. There was a paper that's come out last week an event called FOSSI, I forget what it stands for, in the US, and it's on AI and child protection. And I quite like this diagram that's in there. It's called the kind of something about shouldering or bearing the responsibility. And there's a block for parents, for tech companies, for government, for teachers. And so everybody really has a role to play in this. I think this, coming back to the rights of the child, that's actually one of the kind of ways that we can just always have, and to use an American expression, your true north. Of course, it's hard because, like you said, often there's two sides of the same coin. And we see now with AI, especially, a lot of ethical guidelines coming out. And the principles are all great principles, but they often, you have to make trade-offs and make hard decisions around those principles. And right now, there's very common case or very current case of the issue of end-to-end encryption. And so whether that should be applied, and it's really, some could argue that it's about the right to privacy versus the right to protection, and which is more important. So it's going to take everybody to actually get, to get involved in this, and some hard decisions are going to have to be made. But the best interest of the child, I think if we honestly ask that question, that's a good place to start. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. Absolutely. All decisions we make in terms of issues and involving children, we have to bear the best interest of the child at heart. But that's where it gets difficult, because in every individual case, you have to determine what is the best interest of the child in that particular case, and it differs from every child, every family, every different situation. So because of that, it actually calls for action from not just us who, working at UNICEF or, child rights organizations or, as educators or caregivers. Actually, it's everybody involved are, making a difference or, having their roles and responsibilities in helping, the decision makers to determine what is the best interest of the child in that case. Kamala, I know you also have something to say about the responsibility of the stakeholders.
Yeah, I previously I represent my view, and most responsibility is the parents and the schools. Is major responsibility to reduce the cyberbullying and the increase the digital literacy, I think. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So actually, we, like Tencent mentioned, in China, there has been some, actually quite a few different approaches in, basically developing a contextualized framework of digital literacy for children, but also for parents as well. Help families and children to navigate the, the very complex environment of the internet today. And we feel like that's actually a topic that, can generate a lot of learning. And we also want to learn from other countries and other, regions, other organizations, what they have been doing, and I think it's time for the global community to really sit together and discuss and try to reach a sort of a common consensus approach that we can all kind of moving towards a similar direction. And But like Yuta said, participation is a key child rights. And we want to, like children to be the center of this discussion as well. So Mencheng, what's your views about, what we have been, saying today? And as a child yourself, what do you think, what you can do and what your parents or, your teachers, other adults or, Tencent could do to, help you or support you in navigating the internet and prevent you from, the risks of cyberbullying?
Well, for us teenagers, I think that we should use the internet adequately. We need to get along with others on the internet and just don't insult people or behave very offensively on the internet. If we are the target of cyberbullying or we see someone get cyberbullied, we should speak up and tell the bully to back off. And if they don't do that, we should let a parent know at once and have them be at our side to protect and intervene and to prevent the harmful influence that it will have. One thing, when I was watching the video, one thing that I had a big feel for is that she said, you don't know who to hate. I don't know who to trust, and I don't know who to hate. That is the problem with cyberbullying, because cyberbullying is, for example, if you get bullied on campus, you know who is bullying. You can remember his face. You can, tell teachers and tell authority, or just avoid him. And then you still have friends to help you get through when you are bullied. But if it's cyberbullying, and then you feel like the whole world is attacking you, and you don't know who to trust, and if you can't trust anyone, you don't have any friends. And then if you don't have any friends, there's no one to help you get through the bad times. And that will probably lead to some depression and dark thoughts. And I hope that the school will start a class that teaches us about the internet and its pros and cons and how to deal with them. And teachers to teach us about how to protect ourselves and others from cyberbullying. When we use the internet inappropriately, the teachers should stop us. Cyberbullying is an important issue, and everyone needs to tackle it together to suppress cyberbullying. Thank you.
Thank you, Mencheng. That is very well said, especially like the part you said that in the past you know who's attacking you, but now it's a faceless evil, and you don't know where to hide because you feel like it's everywhere. I think that's a very sort of accurate reflection of how children are feeling. They're feeling really lonely and they're scared. And really thank you. That's very I couldn't have said it better. And so now we have 10 minutes. We want to open the floor to questions or comments from the audience.
Yeah. A quick comment and one question. While developing some digital literacy process, I always recommend to have participation of young kids or childs themselves, and because they are first generation of technology, so they know the better use of those technology. That's why in that case it's always better to make them in the process, so we can give more better digital literacy for stakeholders. And a question is for Yuta and gentlemen from UNICEF. Using AI technology for face recognition, obviously it's very important, and it gives very good solution. But simultaneously, the privacy issue of a child is very significant. So in that case, how we can balance these two things? One is rights or protection of the child themselves, and another is privacy perspective. So is there any ethical guideline that you mentioned that? Is there any ethical guideline developed by UNICEF or any other organization? You have any knowledge on that? That would be very awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the question of Yuta and Stephen, but I just want to respond very quickly about the previously Tencent talked about the AI facial recognition, trafficking case, but that was a very special case, and the technology was only used very limitedly for the criminal investigation. It's not really used for all the children. So it's just for very limited group of children who are potentially trafficked. So just to clarify that.
Thank you. It's a great question. I'll just answer quickly to say that UNICEF is working on a policy guidance for AI and child rights. We're just starting that process. So if whoever wants to be part of that, please chat to me afterwards. But exactly, they are good and bad, in quotes, or challenging uses of all of this technology. So like the facial recognition, one has to be very careful, and ask the right questions about why is it being done, who owns the data, who protects the data, is more data being collected than necessary? And I think you said it well, Yuta, that there's a risk in a lot of these situations as you protect children, you can also kind of over-collect data, and that's then you're arriving at the place that isn't good either. So we do need guidance, but we need people to apply that guidance in a very kind of in a rights-based way. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. I would say that, of course, when you describe using facial recognition to track down children that have gone lost, I would say that would be investigation to find, and that it's for a good purpose. On the other hand, you can use facial recognition for monitoring and surveillance. I would say that it would in most cases not be acceptable. And it's not only due to the infringement of the right to privacy of children, but also because it could give parents, caretakers, a fake feeling of safety. If you think you could, with technical solutions, technical instruments, I prefer not to talk about solutions, because I don't think they solve a problem alone. You should be very careful not to give people the feeling that now their children are completely safe. They will never be completely safe, whatever tools you implement to monitor or to them there and their behavior and their whereabouts and everything. So, and that is more dangerous. It's more dangerous to feel safe when you are not than to be aware that there might be some risks.
Sorry for interrupting. Thank you very much. It was extremely interesting, and I'm very happy that I have the feeling everybody is in a consent here, coming from all parts of the world with all the experiences matching, and also our young friends' experience. And I find his approach, your approach, very, very appropriate to go directly how to solve the problem, meaning going into the schools, going into guidelines, and having your friends react, which happened to my children. That touched me very much, because they cut down bullying when it started by friendship. But I think children are learning by playing. And what I was looking while you were speaking on the internet, if I could find an app store, something like how to address this digital literacy problem, cyberbullying, having games you can play as a parent with your child. First of all, learning the steps how to use the internet, showing, ouch, ouch, it can hurt, and what to do when it hurts. I think this is missing. I haven't found it. Thank you.
If I may, I have a short answer to that. I was responsible for 3 years for the German Center for Child Protection on the Internet. And at that time, we were considering whether such an app would help children. We did some research with children themselves, listening to them what they would like to have. And to be honest, none of the children said they would like to have such an app. And when we said, okay, maybe if you don't download it, it could come with your smartphone. It could be implemented on it, installed on it. And then they said, okay, I have 150 apps on my smartphone. I would just switch it to the last page that I never come across to it, because they didn't like to be confronted with an app that teaches them to avoid what they probably would not like to be. It's always only a small example, and I wouldn't deny the need to teach them digital literacy, but after that research, I'm not sure whether it's the right way to do it via an app.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's something Tencent could think about, because I think children play games for fun, and they could learn from playing games as long as it's fun. So, but if you say this game is designed to educate you, probably they just don't want to play. We actually have a question from the online audience. So, Alice, can you?
Yes, we have a question from online participants. He asked, thank you very much for protecting the children from the dangers of internet. We would like to know that the panel thinks of the open letter to the world's children in which Mrs. For UNICEF Executive Director emphasized that she is worried the future of children because their digital footprint must be protected. More than 1 in 3 children globally are thought to be regular users of the internet. More actions to protect children from bullying and exposure to harmful content is certainly needed.
So actually, we have a colleague from UNICEF, headquarters. I think he's in the audience, but I think he might be, able to answer this question. Angela?
Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe I'll hold my comment before I respond to this question. Absolutely, this came out from ED4, which shows the commitment that she has on this issue and pushing the organization to do everything that we can in our capability to protect children. We do see the digital space to be a participatory one where children can flourish. But at the same time, we are cognizant of the risks and some of the issues that come along with being on the internet. So protecting the digital footprint definitely is one of the key areas where we are absolutely very, very careful about protecting children's identity online and what it means to privacy of children. If I may just add to the comprehensive discussions and the viewpoints that my colleagues had presented earlier on cyberbullying, and also to kind of build on what Gao had mentioned, that now the reach, it's something that children that could negotiate it in the past face-to-face in the school premises or in the physical locality. The reach has now really become much expansive. So just absolutely agree with you. There are faceless profiles. But to add to that is that something that might start as a prank online People around the world are not aware of the sensitivities. There are cultural issues. So we have a whole range of people around the world coming on to a thread or conversation that might have started on a very innocent way, and then it escalates to a very, very different and serious level. And that's the nuance that, that we have with cyberbullying. And with regular bullying, when we have these power dynamics, the power imbalance, a reiterative process of, a continued process where this happens. On cyberbullying part of it, it can be very instantaneous. It could be something that's very dynamic that can then again explode. So we have to be mindful of that. And to finish off with Juta's comment, I completely agree with what you presented, Juta. Maybe just to add that on the privacy part, cyberbullying also has a component, right? When the information about children are being shared online, their privacy is also under breach. So just to acknowledge that point. Thank you.
That was very thought-provoking. And I think also close this session very well, because cyberbullying with all its underlying causes, it also, we have to look at that into, in this broad context of internet culture, how people are behaving online, sometimes it's just different from how they behave offline. And there's a lot to think about, and thank you very much for, joining us this afternoon, and we hope we can continue this discussion in a different time, in different format. Thank you.